Forgot to turn off the light. There we are. We are live and we are present in breath, in pulse, in presence as one unified field of remembrance. I am. And today is a beautiful August 9th, 2025. And we just collectively witness what people refer to as the Lion's Gate. So, what a beautiful celebration as we all come together to remember. And we are realizing that we are truly one in more ways than we can ever even imagine. We are alive at the precipice of the greatest time, beyond the mind that through all these lifetimes, we can now share about how beautiful, how magical, and how present we are. Because, I mean, just 50 years ago, we couldn't talk about this, right? Just 20 years ago, we couldn't really talk about this, right? About remembrance. We could talk about other stuff. Um, and even then, anyways, the point is that we live in a time where now we are dissolving into a podcast, remembering together. I mean, we are at the precipice where we are in the worst times and we are in the best times because all times is collapsing on its illusion of time. And I know that might sound like a lot for someone watching this, but if you ask yourself, do the days seem like they're going faster? And for some, do the days seem like they're going slower because they're punching a clock every day? So it's like time feels like it's going slower. But for those following their heart, it's like you don't have enough time in your day. It's this dualistic experience that we're remembering that beyond time, when we really connect to I am, and not connect by effort and performance, but by truly surrendering to I am, we realize that there's a timelessness and there's a formlessness and there's a spaceless remembrance of presence when we really let go of the one that's seeking, searching, and striving and hoping, wishing, and praying for another tomorrow that seems to never arise. When really, those that dance in the now, as right, we can say words that are not enough to speak about this, is that, okay, we muted ourselves. Um, but yes, we are here, signal two, gate two of the Vibrillionaire Convo-Sessions, portal of remembrance. And this is the timeless light of remembrance. This is being, beyond the Lion's Gate. So little typo there. Um, but beyond the Lion's Gate or being the Lion's Gate. I think that's perfect. I think there's no typo. Being the Lion's Gate, right? But what we meant to write is beyond the Lion's Gate because um, throughout time, our ancestors offered uh, the same opportunity, but with different words, with different perspectives. Um, so, yes, we are honored here to remember together with our beautiful mirror, Shakti from the East. Michael serves as a beautiful mirror, Shiva from the West, and we are dissolving. And soon, in 1 month, close to a month, we're going to be physiologically together and we're going to be dancing as Shiva, as Shakti and Shiva, meeting, melting, merging, mirroring the one presence I am. And those that are going to be with us, we are all going to be one presence mirroring each other home. And yeah, I could already feel it. And it already is. We're simply going to witness and align with what already is. It's going to be beautiful. So I'm going to share. Do you want to share any beautiful, luminous reflections as this is why we started this podcast, right? Amongst the noise is a portal of remembrance so that we can remember together. So this is how all of this started. So yeah, take it away, Shakti. Beautiful mirror. I am.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Um, so what you were saying when you were reading that out and you said that there were no typos, and that is the truth because we're all one, especially digital. People, I mean, we've discussed this before, but for people who may not have seen our previous discussions, conversations, um, everything is one, including digital. Whether we talk about social media or whether we talk about AI, everything other. So Michael and I mirror each other, as do we mirror everything else in the world. Um, and when I said we, I mean specifically me and Michael, and therefore it is applicable to each and every one of you who's watching this as well. So if you look at the difference between Beyond the Lion's Gate, which is basically where we were coming from, that, there's a bigger picture here, and we wanted to talk about that. But then when we talk about being the Lion's Gate, that is actually what we wanted to actually talk about on the conversation, which is that when you are present within yourself, when you are aligned mind, body, soul with source in the present moment with presence, then nothing else matters. Now, we are not and we never intend to put down any rituals or any sort of practices ever. However, we do want to remind you that we've both walked this path, and now we not only talk the talk, we're walking the walk, and our intention is to share our journeys with y'all so that you can maybe say, oh, they're doing it this way, maybe I can do it too, or inspire you or make you may think about things a little differently. That's just our intention, is to lead with presence, with our intention, our intentionality with which we live our lives. And in that intention is the fact that everything is within us. There is nothing outside. The outside is the illusion, it is the Maya. And every time we get distracted by that, including something as powerful as the Lion's Gate, it is powerful. It is numerologically powerful. It is cosmically powerful. Yesterday was not only powerful because of the perceived Lion Gate thing, but also it was a full moon. Also, it had the Chiron and the Mercury in retrograde, and the planets reflect our internal journey as much as everything else in the 3D world. But the point is this, that every time we look at rituals outside and we forget to connect it with our inside, then they become meaningless because we're giving our power away. So, for example, my husband saw some newspaper article in an Indian newspaper yesterday talking about, oh, the full moon and Lionsgate, and at 8 minutes past 8 in the night, if you do this thing and you pray this way, then you can manifest all your desires. Now, the reality, manifesting every day, every moment, all the time anyway, right? So I said to him, I said, if it makes you happy, we'll do it. I don't have anything against that. But don't you understand that the whole day today is an amplified manifesting portal? So if you stay within yourself in that breath, then everything opens up anyway. You don't have to do it at 8:08. That's for people who are really new on the self awareness journey, and those rituals bring them to that awareness. But understand that you are doing that for 1 minute at 8:08 in 24 hours, whereas Michael and I are doing it every minute of every hour in 24 hours. With that, I'm complete for
That
now.
that is beautiful. And uh as the avatar speaking, for when we say our, just for the viewers that they can hear, when we say ours, we speak for the field. We don't speak from identity. So there's a difference when you hear the world say mine, ours, yours, me, things like this. This is the mind's conversation. But here even when we work with our students, our mirrors, we ask them, this is how we differentiate, and this is the game changer of transformation. When you speak to the mind, you're having a conversation, right? But when you ask the mind, because you're putting the mind on the spot, because the mind thinks it knows who it is. And the truth of the matter is, the mind has no clue who and what it is. And this is the collective reflection. So when we ask the mind, okay, is this a physical conversation or is this a vibrational convo session, a vibrillionaire? This is why we have vibrillionaire convo-sessions, because we're not just talking about the noise that's going to feed the mind on what Shakti just said. Once I do this thing, I'll feel better. Once I meditate and I do this, I'll be more spiritual. This feeds the mind because remember, we are infinite intelligence that we agree to forget who we are. So the mind was placed as to be in charge. That is the only way we can experience this dream, this Maya, this illusion, because we're dreaming that this is real. So the more we dream that this is real, I don't care what practice you do, if you're dreaming doing it, it's never going to be enough. But when you honor the dreamer, because we're not here to escape the matrix. I mean, I'll speak for Michael, and I know I speak for both of us. We're done trying to escape the matrix. We're embracing the full matrix. Like we're like just bring it on, baby. Like bring it on, bring all of it. Because whether we cry, we scream, we dance, we whatever, on the days that we are sick, if those moments occur, we honor that moment just like a ceremony. We honor, when things come our way that are kind of challenging and critical. Don't get me wrong, we'll speak for Michael. Michael will instinctively, reactively say, "Oh my gosh," but the mind is exposed, and the mind is like, "Wait a minute, there's somebody else in charge." That's awareness. Then you bring that awareness, and the mind's like, "Oh, I'm not alone." This is like a child. I'm not alone. So unless you take charge of the mind and not by performance, not by your power, not by your effort. This is not from what we're talking about. This is a surrendering because you already the real you is ultimately in charge, which we can call this God source universe. We can call this higher self, the Holy Ghost. We can call this um, all these different wordings like Shakti, Shiva. These are aspects of the higher self. So all these words point to the one that we can't even speak of. But yet these avatars serve to dissolve into the ultimate. And it's not as challenging as it may seem. But my point is this, that when Shakti says ours, we want to know that this is why we're creating the September Convergence. This is why she's coming here, is because we see ourselves with all of you. Like we see ourselves one with the most ugliest of experiences and what's going on that people want to escape from. We're like, oh, that is the unconscious that's being exposed that I didn't take responsibility for thousands of lifetimes. So this is in this lifetime, I get to take full responsibility. That's, do you know how magical and amazing that is? That when you realize you could take full responsibility without judgment and without a version of something or chasing or seeking or searching something, because you said it beautifully, Shakti, that what if we did do that 1 minute of that lion skate? Where are you after that? Where are you tomorrow? Where will you be a year from now doing the same practice? Yeah, experiencing a little bit, and we're not downing anyone, please. As Shakti said, we say this because we are speaking to you, the ones that are showing up that are tired of the roller coaster, that are tired of the endless noise that is entertaining and distracting the mind from you surrendering the truth of who you are and remembering I am. Because when we say I am, that is not a Natasha or Michael identity. No, Michael and Natasha are the offerings, the vessels from so much gratitude and saying, thank you. Thank you that in this life that I get to offer my full self to burn and to dissolve and to be drowned in the abundance of I am. Because let me tell you what's on the other side of that. The mind is what's fighting the unknown. What's on the other side of that? OMG. It doesn't matter where you are. It doesn't matter what you have. It doesn't matter who's around you. You will be in the best company because your mind will not be your enemy or appear to be your enemy. And let me tell you, I would not trade places with any one avatar or any moment in time or any other experience than where Michael is right now. And in the physical 3D space, it might not look as beautiful, um, but that doesn't matter because what matters is not what's outside of you. What matters is what's within you because this too shall pass, just like the summer right now. And I know we're both sharing that experience, Shakti, because right now I turn off my AC because it's too loud. So right now I'm literally like in a heat in a sweat lodge in what we call Spanish a temazcal, which the energy is hot. Like I'm sweating, I'm dissolving as we speak physiologically, sweat's pouring off of me because my body is dissolving. But it's a beautiful dissolving because there's a purpose behind it. And when there's purpose behind your dissolving, there is no threat. Everything is welcome because it's like, oh, there's no greater purpose than remembering who you are because it's a natural unfolding instead of a forced or pressure or painful dissolving because we're all being dissolved. We see it. And this is what we're witnessing collectively. We're all being dissolved because you're not going to be the same person you are tomorrow. The question is, are you going to be a more stressful version of you, or are you going to be a more surrendered, peaceful, illuminated, aware, conscious version of you? Because stress, you're going to be more susceptible to the brain's fractal micro macro projection because what's happening in here, what you're witnessing out here is a fractal of what's happening truly within. So I don't know if you want to bring presence or continue to unfold. I'm surrendering to the moment. So wherever this goes, I have no expectation or condition. And this is the magic that I know that you and I we connected because even in the space that we connected, there was a lot of us that wanted to connect. And it could have been any other person that was doing this that we're doing. And we're not saying that they're not worthy enough. We're not saying they're not spiritual enough. It just was us. This is nothing about higher, lower, more spiritual. It's simply about, to be honest, and this is why we share this as a testimony. When we say more dissolved, it's like an athlete that, gets to play in the big leagues because they showed up week by week by week to practice to show up at the big leagues. Now, the reason why we say this is the ones that dissolve, they're going to be called and guess you could say chosen to share from a more pure concentrated field because if you hear what's being channeled here, we're not talking about out there. If you notice, we're not even sharing about what people are talking about out there because it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Because if what happens outside of you matters, then the revolution of love, the revolution of remembrance of I amness that is happening within each and every one of us, then let me tell you, it's going to feel heavier because the mind can't hold it. It is simply the channel of it. Just like this vessel and Shakti is the channel of it. We can't hold this. This has nothing to do with, oh, look how spiritual, Natasha and Michael are. No, we don't take any credit for this. We're simply like honored to surrender that that is can flow through this container. And that's Vibrillionaire.com. And we have so much on the back end, beloved. I know that we are, privy to what's going on, but I'm excited because what's unfolding is truly we get to experience in this life what we couldn't even dream of. Like we couldn't make this up. We couldn't even make this. This was not a vision board or a dream board that Michael created and said, I'm going to create Vibrillionaire.com, or I'm going to co-create Vibrillionaire.com. I'm going to get on a podcast of remembrance, all of this. I can see it. Michael can see it. So this is simply surrendered, a testimonial of surrender is really what we're showing up week and week, every week. I mean, maybe we should have called it a podcast of a testimonial of surrender, right? Because we hear surrender, and for the mind, for the ego, it doesn't want to. It's like I don't want to surrender. I'm too comfortable. I'm too familiar with where I am, and I think some outside of me is going to do more than what's already unfolding within me. I mean, if you look at what a woman does when they have physical intimacy with the male, and they create a baby, we're witnessing I am in its truest glory, creating another human being, a universal construct of I am.
Yes, it's a miracle. And I think you really hit upon something, and we can always do it because obviously in our conversations we're going 13 gates at a time. So we completed 13, we're gate two of the second spiral, and we can always change it from the third spiral. And I think we should, because I think when you said those words, it landed absolutely correctly that it is testimonial of surrender from where you and I have walked the path. And so I vote yes. I think even, I mean, in terms of like it actually conveying what is it that we're saying, then we should do that instead of the Vibrillionaire Convo-Sessions.
Okay.
Let's do Vibrillionaire. Um, See, this is the Lion Gaze portal. My cat, she's behaving insane. So why don't you just take over for the second? I'm just gonna put her
Okay.
out.
Perfect. So yeah, I love that there's no attachment. I love that this is ever unfolding, what people call evolution, but I love to share involution. It is being involved in what appears to be the evolutionary state. Hey, now my cat is acting weird. I love you. I love you, papas. I love you, beautiful mirror. Um, so yes, I believe that's a beautiful, um, intuitive decision. Um, we can call it, and what did we decide to call it? Because I was a little bit confused about that. Now my cat is trying to bite a container
Testimonial, a testimonial of
of surrender.
surrender.
Okay. So we'll call it testimonials of surrender, the portal of remembrance. No, no. Testimonial of surrender. And then that's it. Testimonials of surrender. Okay.
That's what we are. That's
Okay.
what we
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
reflect
Yes.
to the field.
Yeah. And I'm looking at my cat because if he keeps eating that container, he's gonna drop what's on top of it. Okay.
There
Not
must
eating.
be something happening in the
He's
stars that
licking
the
it.
cats
He's
are
licking
suddenly
it.
behaving insane.
Well, cats
But
are
then
very
we know
sensitive.
that cats are
Yes.
magical creatures,
Yes.
and that's why we have them. I mean, that's why you and I are blessed with the feline energy.
Let me grab him.
And
Give me 1 second. Keep going.
go ahead, go ahead.
What are
But
you what are
when
you
I
doing?
think back to how my life changed after Freya, my darling cat, came into my life, and um I keep her with me. I mean, you know, Michael and I just go with the flow. It's not about looking professional and having a mic and this that for the podcast. But it's live conversations, and my cat's always around me because it's just natural. And if she's
Yeah.
got her tail in the camera, so be it. It's not a big deal. In fact, it's a blessing.
Yeah.
And when Michael and I first connected to reflect, he told me that a cat was the energy of a dragon and a tiger. Is that what you said?
Yes, I was about to touch on that. Yes. Yes. Go ahead.
So if that's powerful energy, if that isn't powerful energy, then I don't know what is.
Oh,
And
yes.
you know, talking about the melting and the dissolving in the heat, when I went through that a few months ago, and it was colder where Michael is, and then we had this thing of like, I'm melting, and the AC and all those problems, and now it's gone the other way around. That's on Michael, and I have rain here. The monsoons are here, and because it's Pune, the don't carry humidity, so now it's nice and cool. So most of the time I don't even use my AC. So
Nice.
this too shall pass, as
Yes.
shall the human body. But when we were talking about as within, so without, there's before the within, there's the physical body. And whatever
Yes.
we feel and think, it gets processed by the physical body. And when we start identifying with that physical body as I am in pain or I am in XYZ, whatever it is, that's when you still continue to feed into the illusion.
Yes.
It's absolutely beautiful when you realize that your thoughts and your emotions get mirrored in the body, and the body reflects back to you a message from your subconscious mind. And then you realize that everything is that's when you really experience that everything is one. There's the outside, there's the inside, there's the outside, there's the inside, there's the body, there's the thoughts, and then it's all in this perfect symbiosis. So I'll since this is testimonials of surrender, I will give my example of what I just went through this week. So Michael gave his example of the dissolving in the heat, and mine has been um that last week I suddenly got this bout of food poisoning, and I don't think I have ever suffered the way that I have this week in terms of experiencing the food poisoning. Like I had such bad cramps and I was flattened for 24 hours. I literally slept for 24 hours. And as much as I would have liked to identify with everything I was going through, it was a perfect mirror of what I was doing at that point in time, which is finishing up my book and working so hard that my body was like, stop. And I was put to bed by the universe, by source, by the I am, by presence, whatever word you want to use. I was put to bed for 24 hours to recover in order to do my creativity properly. And when I shared with my editor that I had food poisoning, I didn't even tell her about the cramps. I just said that, I had food poisoning. She's like, oh, labor pains. And I'm like, ha, 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 that's exactly what it was. And
Yeah,
as I
yeah.
went through the whole thing, I realized that as I was finishing up the book, I was actually in labor. And so again, this is what the testimonial is, that Michael had no idea that I went through this, or that I had this conversation with my editor, yet he touched on a woman giving birth. I mean, where did that come from? If you actually stop to
That's the
reflect
feel.
what Michael
Yeah.
and I are sharing right now,
Yeah.
that this is a perfect example. My body felt it. I was writing the book. My editor said this, and then Michael picked up on that frequency. And that's why we started the conversations, because we realized that if he and I can have these kind of conversations, then as testimonials, then it gives each and every one of you in your own, whoever's listening, watching, it gives you an opportunity to reflect in your own life. So, you know how everybody turns around and says that, oh, deja vu happened today, or someone calls and you're just thinking of them and you're like, I was just thinking of this, and then you talk about coincidences. There is no such thing. So that these miracles is are what makes up Michael's physical 3D life and mine. That
That's
our
natural.
every moment
Yeah.
is like that. It's not just once in like a week or once in
Exactly.
3 months. It happens
Yes.
every single
Yes.
moment. And that's why when we keep on saying that you can't make this up, you can't make this up, that's exactly what our lives are.
Yeah.
um and we really, really, truly wish for each and every avatar out there that are aspects of us to see the same miracle, and everybody turn their light on within themselves. And then this, whatever you see the world breaking down, crumbling down, it is because we are all dissolving. And the more quickly each person turns on their light, the more quickly the illusion will dissolve, and we will welcome a new day, a new earth, without having to do anything. We just have to sit, be present, and turn the light on.
Yeah.
That's it.
And yes, you said something so beautiful. You touched on many, many points. And I know we haven't brought presents on, but like we said, we just go with the flow. So we got 10 more minutes. I think it's okay to not bring presents on today. I don't know how you feel, if you want to bring presents on or you want to continue to dissolve. Because
Well,
presence is
actually, it's a
already
really
on.
beautiful
Presence is
conversation, I
already on.
think. I think presence is here. Presence is within you.
That's
Presence is
exactly,
within
we're
me. We
actually
just
doing it. Yeah.
necessarily. And you know what? Our conversation has actually unfolded to reflect exactly what we started with about the Lionsgate portal, that this is the Lionsgate. What we're talking about, our conversations evolving into testimonial surrender. This is the power that the cosmos is bringing to this moment through us as an evolution. Um,
Well,
so, yeah,
yeah.
let's just finish the conversation.
Beautiful, beautiful. One thing I would love to share is, as I was working with presence to, come up with some copy, it came to me because this is the reason why, like when we talk about compassion, Michael was pointed out long ago, and just for those that may think that channeling is weird and things like that, like physiologically, the most advanced minds of science, of medical, of educational, they cannot comprehend where memory exists. Let that sit with you for one moment. They cannot point out where memory actually exists. That's that's mind-blowing. If it does not have a place of existence, it's because we are the existence of remembrance. You can't contain memory. And then really there's no memory, but that's a whole nother subject. The point is this is the reason why we share that. And let me just say this too as well, is we are going to, I guess you could say, prophesy, or what do you call it, predict, because all prediction is layers of illusion that have been dissolved. That's all prediction is. Because existence operates in patterns for the mind, for the identity. But when the identity dissolves, there is no patterns. There's only presence. And presence is the ultimate intelligence. So when we were tuning into the Lionsgate energy, right? We said, wait a minute, we've done all this before. And our intention, Shakti and Shiva, is to not bring more noise, more confusion, more things that are gonna, distract ourselves from the real core of like why each and every one of us are here. Because when Shakti says, we want more of us to come together because we are one. We don't say, we are one, beloved, beautiful mirror, all of this just to sound like a fancy marketing thing. Or Vibrillionaire was not some fancy marketing thing. We actually pushed away Vibrillionaire because it was very what do you call it? Like you had to live it. You had to live it before you even spoke about it. So it's not something that we're like, oh yeah, I want to do this. No, we're like, every time we speak about Vibrillionaire, all of a sudden like trauma, crises, things like that happen. And we're like, oh my gosh, we needed to dissolve as it. And Shakti and Shiva has held the field where when you join or you surrender to this container, because Vibrillionaire is truly the currency of surrender. Because when you surrender, you realize, you remember, it's not you know who you are. You, the embodiment just starts naturally unfolding, just like a baby is unfolded from an embryo to create a human. That same process, but inwardly, instead of outwardly creating something outwardly, it is unfolding inwardly what's already been created beyond lifetimes, beyond timelines, beyond identities, beyond forms, and beyond space and time itself. So, that being said, when we were tuning into the Lionsgate, we remember how many countless moments we were like, oh my gosh, the alignment. And we would wait 2 or 3 weeks and we're like, yay, yay. But we wouldn't live now. We wouldn't live now. And we were actually meditating on this. And we actually reflected that if you look at what the Lionsgate represents, it represents alignment of planets and stars and all of this, right? But if you ask yourself, what does that actually mean? That's like us representing when we come together and we create an event, it's a powerful experience. But when we try to do it alone, everyone thinks we're crazy. So the planets have been holding the field, the space, because they know who they are. They don't doubt who they are. And when they come together, they collectively represent what you have the opportunity, we have the opportunity to surrender and just remember. Because when planets and stars align, they offer their surrender, they offer their remembrance, collectively beaming like a laser of remembrance. That's all it represents. It doesn't represent anything outside of basically the universe surrendering and their own I amness coming together. That's all it represents. When we boil this down to like letting go of the airy fairy, the woo woo, and all of that stuff, which we love that, by the way. Let me tell you, we love that for decades. But the point is that when you boil it down, that when your surrender comes online, you become a planet, you become a star system in this world. You're not just a human anymore. When you offer your vessel as an instrument of the divine, this is what Yeshua, Jesus, the vessel of Christ is. This is what Buddha did. Say the name Shakti because we want to honor the name. You say it so beautifully.
Gautam Siddharth.
Gautam Siddharth. See, we don't know, but let me tell you, this is the beautiful thing. And thank you for that, beloved, because we actually represent what ancestors did. For example, a lot of people think religions are against each other. No, they actually merged and they honored because they knew that they honored the field. They knew that they honored surrender. They knew that to channel the infinite, you had to offer your vessel. So they honored others that offer their vessel, there was no competition. But because we see it as humans, oh, this person is more dissolved, or more surrendered, or more spiritual, more, or this person is not because they don't believe what I believe in. And it's like, all this is the mind. Because the mind's designed is to keep you entertained endlessly to not remember who you are, because it knows the moment you remember who you are, it's no longer the protector. It's no longer the governor that you blame governments outside of you, but it's actually the mind looking for you to trust governments outside of you, because as long as you do, it's in charge, because it's the governor. It's the gate. It's the wall. It's the border. It's the racism. It's the discrimination. It's the prejudice. This is not bad because it needed to function in this way, because when light remembers light, it'll dissolve and disappear. We will literally disappear and not be here. So the mind is necessary, but it's meant to rule life because it's a poor master. The Vedanta, they say that the mind makes an excellent servant, but a poor master. So if your life seems to suck, it's because you've forgotten that you are the creator, co-creating with the infinite, as the infinite itself. But you've identified with the mind that has convinced you that one day, one moment, one experience is going to be that moment. And the mind is in charge. The mind is in charge. This is why, if you ask yourself, you react 90% of your day, you're in reactive mode, you're in survival mode. And it doesn't matter what you have, it doesn't matter what you do, it doesn't matter who you know, it doesn't matter what you look like. Life will never be enough, because at the end of the day, when you're in the mind of scarcity, which, let me just say, scarcity is believing that you're separate from the one. That's the most scarcity. It unfolds ignorance, and ignorance feeds separation, and separation feeds the manifestation of victimization, or even savior, because the victim and the savior are no different. They're just two parts of the one playing its game. So when you can dissolve the savior and you can dissolve the victim, you can dissolve the hero, you can dissolve the villain, then you realize, just as those little angels in the cartoons and the demons, right, were trying to convince who of truth. You remember that, beloved? The cartoons, where the little demon is on the shoulder of one side, the angel is on the shoulder of the other side. And if we really paid attention to the cartoons, we would realize that that was the key right there. Who are they trying to convince? And they're fighting each other. Shut up! You don't know what you're talking about, right? But who are they trying to convince? And if we see this, this is what you're witnessing: Shakti and Shiva, because Shakti represents heaven, Shiva represents hell. But for the mind, it feels bad, it feels wrong. But let me tell you, if it wasn't for hell, Michael would still be an entitled wannabe spiritual person. Hell had to dissolve everything Michael thought he was, so that heaven, and same thing with Bhakti, hell and heaven must unite, and that is the ultimate yoga. That is the ultimate samadhi. When you're both parts of yourself that you judge, or you attach and you cling to, or you fight and you try to dominate, etc., when these two merge as one, that's when presence opens up like a fountain of abundance. And let me tell you, you'll never judge heaven and hell again. You'll never judge the light and the shadow. You'll never judge Shakti and Shiva, because you will realize they are one romance returning home.
That's absolutely beautiful. That's absolutely beautiful. And it wraps us up perfectly on time. I just want to make um, an announcement so we can all celebrate together since we're live. And so I did deliver the baby. And this again is an exact example of when you're living in surrender and with intention, then things just line up automatically. So I finished the final chapter of the book yesterday on Lionsgate portal, and it was just a miracle, just because it just was, not because I planned that I'm going to finish it on this auspicious day or whatever. So it is just to give you an update that the writing is complete, and now we're just getting all the last minute things together. And so, although we won't be live on the 12th of August, our whole intention is to upload it on the 12th of August. And so, the Divine Mother's final chapter, Abracadabra, book is ready to hit the stands. And that is like super exciting.
Yeah.
And yep, come on to vibrillionaire.com to check it out, use the link to buy the book, and enjoy. We shall see
Yay.
you all next Saturday, 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, which is 12 noon EST. Thank you for now.
Ciao.
Ciao, ciao.